What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to a new season, number 3. Dang, I got 3 of them things now. Boy, episode number 1. Today is October 1st, first day of October. I'm recording this a little past 4:30 p.m. Pacific time over here, as we always say, on the West motherfucking coast. So we're tipping things off before the preseason even gets rolling. Media day just happened for majority of the teams earlier this week. Some of the other teams that are in Abu Dhabi and abroad, Melbourne, Australia, started a couple days before. So I'm your host, and I am Kandarir, and I've got a vision for this season I'm excited to share with you guys as we go along the journey. Last time out, we wrapped the season off with the Kings falling to the Mavericks in the playing game that was just absolute dog shit. I was at that game, and trust me, the energy in the building was unforgettable. I'll give you my quick reactions in just a bit, but today we're jumping into 5 of the biggest storylines heading into the new season. We'll start at the top, the defending champs, OKC Thunder, and whether they can repeat. Then we'll hit Philly to spotlight rookie VJ Edgecombe. Check in on the Sacramento Kings after all that in-season drama last season. Look at the power struggle in the East between the Bucks, Cavs, Knicks, and a few others, and wrap up with Victor Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs in Texas. Along the way, I'll sprinkle in a few thoughts. That's where we'll start things off from the recent press conferences around the league, because there's plenty of talk that could set the tone for the rest of the year. Before we dive into on-the-court storylines, let's talk about some of the preseason press conferences that stood out. A lot was said at the podiums this week, and some of it could shape how the season plays out. Let's start with Giannis in Milwaukee. Even from Greece, he reminded everyone that his focus is on championships. Nothing else matters to him. That set the tone league-wide. If the Bucks slip, he won't hesitate to look elsewhere. Speaking of uncertainty about the future, nobody does cryptic better than LeBron James. Let's start there with Giannis. Even from Greece, he did his presser on video because he wasn't able to be there. He doesn't want anybody else around him to get sick with COVID, so respect that first and foremost. Giannis made headlines at the Bucks media day. He confirmed that he did reevaluate his future over the summer, but also reiterated his familiar goal. Quote, "I want to be on a team that allows me and gives me a chance to win a championship. I want to be among the best," close quote. Delivering answers via a grainy video feed, Giannis struck a cautious but clear tone at the end of the day. He's still committed for now, but refuses to settle. He insisted he, quote, "really believes in this team," close quote, and feels confident about Milwaukee's young roster. His blunt refusal to recall a supposed meeting with ownership, quote, "I couldn't recall any such meeting," close quote, even as he praised the offseason moves. Hinted at some simmering tension. Teammates and fans heard a familiar message. Giannis loves winning above everything else, and if the Bucks don't keep a championship contention in reach, he won't hesitate to dip out. Shitty way to go out for the Bucks last year. This one is definitely something to keep close tabs on. Those guys just added Miles Turner, a few others. Damian Lillard goes back to Portland. It's very clear that he wants to win, and at this point, he's not going to settle for anything less. That's all he cares about. MVPs, all that is great, but championships is what he really cares about. So let's keep our eyes on him as the season goes. Let's move on to LBJ, LeBron James. At 40, LeBron keeps opponents guessing. Lakers media day was filled with LeBron's trademark half smiles and one-word cryptic answers, as he always does. When asked if he would be back at next year's media day, he simply shrugged, quote, "maybe," with a laugh, fueling retirement rumors without denying anything. He downplayed syncing his timeline with his son Bryce's potential NBA debut. Quote, "I'm not waiting on Bryce. He has his own timeline. I've got my timeline," close quote. A coy way of saying he'll play as long as he still loves the grind. That's what he always reiterates, is he wants to always love the process in the offseason and going into the season and during the regular season and the playoffs. He still wants to love everything that comes with that. And for that, I don't fault him one single bit, because you don't want to go to work because you're unhappy or you don't feel any joy in it anymore. In a longer reply, James painted a vivid picture of his future. Quote, "For me, it's just, am I still excited about the process? I think once I kind of fall out of love with the process, then I'll know for sure. Then it'll probably be the end for me," close quote. In other words, retirement clues will come only when LBJ is ready to admit it. He is not ready to do that just yet. His upbeat tone and jokes keep them guessing, quipped one fan, suggested he's still motivated, but every answer left analysts scouring for hints. He left the door wide open with his agent, sent out a message during the offseason that right now all he really cares about is winning, and he wants to be in an environment that he wants to win. I don't fault Rich Paul for doing that one single bit. Man, it's crazy. LB is just about to be 41 very soon in his 23rd season. No NBA player has done that last time I checked. Feel free to fact check me on that. I'm not 100% sure. But man, he just keeps going on and on and on like an Energizer bunny. And I'm excited to see him right here in Sacramento. Those guys come at the end of October, at the very end of this month. Got a little less than a month until we see the LA Lakers. They usually don't come to Sacramento this early in the season. They usually come later November and December. But I'm very happy they're coming early on in the year. I think they did that actually last year. So if I'm not mistaken, very, very excited to see them when they come into town. All right. LeBron kept everyone guessing with those one-word answers about retirement and his timeline. Classic Bron, right? Keeping the spotlight just enough while leaving fans to read between the lines. But over in Inglewood, Kawhi Leonard had no interest in being mysterious. He went straight at the questions about the Pablo Torre report. All right, so two on deck for the Clips. Clippers Media Day took a dramatic turn with Kawhi was asked about the Pablo Torre report and the ongoing NBA investigation. The normally soft-spoken Finals MVP went on offense. He flatly dismissed conspiracy talk. It's easy for me. I don't read headlines or do conspiracy theories. It's about the season and what we got ahead of us right now, close quote. Asked if there was any truth to the allegations of no-show endorsement deals, Kawhi was adamant. Quote, the NBA is going to do their job. None of us did no wrongdoing. We invite the investigations. It's not going to be a distraction for me or the rest of the team, close quote. His tone was steely and impatient, clearly irked by the questions, mainly by Ramona Shelbourne. Honestly, she was grilling him quite a bit. The ESPN analyst was also the one that had a talk with Steve Ballmer. I think we all saw that by now, right? Where Steve just wanted to come on and just basically say like he got scammed. We didn't do anything wrong. You can definitely see that in his emotion during that press conference. But this just keeps going on and on. Honestly, it's a little irritating, but I get it. It has to be talked about because it's a pretty big thing in the league. I don't think they actually did any wrongdoing, if I'm just kind of keeping it a buck. But the reports will come out, and let's just kind of wait for that. There was different kinds of emotions from all over the league. I think some people saw the admiration for his laser focus. Kawhi is signaling that he's not afraid of scrutiny and determined to keep his head down on basketball. That's all he really cares about at the end of the day. Teammates and Ty Lue echoed his stance, publicly backing him and emphasizing team focus at this time. I don't think it's really going to be too much of a distraction from what I heard during the press conference. I actually just heard it today. It was like 8 minutes long. I do believe him when he said that this is pretty old to him and the people around him, and it's just getting to the surface to the public. And imagine somebody telling you something that happened 3-4 years ago, and you remember some kind of details, but at this time you don't really care in the present being. That's basically what Kawhi is doing here. All right, Kawhi was sharp and focused, making it clear the Clippers are putting the noise behind them. And then there's Kevin Durant, who's already looking ahead in Houston, calling out his belief in the Rockets' young core and even saying he sees himself signing an extension there. That's a very different tone compared to the other stars that we just heard from. Obviously, a lot of optimism here. I was going to talk about the Joker as well, but there is talk around him as well as far as future goes. We'll only just speak about Kevin Durant for now. Let's go ahead and break that down. Over in H-Town, after a surprising trade from Phoenix, Durant sounded bullish on his new home. As we all know, KD played his college ball at the University of Texas, so no stranger to the state. At Rockets Media Day, he repeatedly praised Coach Ime Udoka and said he wants to stay. Asked about a new contract, Durant smiled, quote, I do see myself signing a contract extension. I can't tell you exactly when that will happen, but I do see it coming, close quote. He noted that learning of his departure from the Suns was a shock. Quote, I wasn't expecting to leave Phoenix so quickly, close quote, but that familiarity with Coach Ime Udoka made Houston feel right. The mood was upbeat. KD spoke of trusting the young Rockets core and even said his 6'11" body type fits Houston's roster. Those guys are very lengthy. I don't think there's anybody that's going to be in that starting lineup that's smaller than 6'8". They're going to be all up in your neck, long hands, and they love to push the pace. I don't blame KD for choosing Houston. At the end of the day. So media outlets seized on his birthday press conference. That was his birthday, the same day that he had the press conference, as evidence that Durant is motivated and aiming to prove the Rockets can contend. First off, it sucks having the president of the union and Fred VanVleet missing most of the year with that ACL. Terrible, terrible, terrible way to start the season off. But I'm sure those guys are still focused at the goal as winning a championship. They still have a lot of pieces around them. I believe Amin Thompson is going to be controlling majority of the ball. They have a few other guards. Reed Shepard, not so sure what's going to happen for him this year. He really needs to take another step up in the ball handling situation and see if he can get more playing time, because you're not going to be very happy if you're not really getting on the floor too much as the years go by. Looking forward to see maybe if he's gained some weight and what other areas of his game has improved from last season in Reed Shepard. The other guard is JD Davison. Let's see what happens with this Rockets team, because I feel like they're probably going to be at least in the top six, even without Fred being their point guard and leader and being a vet that he has been throughout the years. Anytime you got KD on your team, man, 90 guy and Kevin Durant long, could get a bucket whenever he wants in different ways. I'm excited to see Kevin Durant, and I didn't see any of the games that he was here in Sacramento last season, so looking forward to doing that this season. From Giannis' reminder about winning, to LeBron's cryptic future, to Kawhi's direct denial and Durant's optimism. Houston, these pressers gave us an idea on what's been going on in their mind as far as this season, the future, and also reflecting on last season as well. All right, let's now move on to our storylines. First up to the podium, the defending champs in the Oklahoma City Thunder. Can OKC build on a historic season? OKC stormed through the 2024-2025 season, finishing a league best 68-14 and capturing its first NBA title. SGA led the way, NBA scoring champion at 32.7 points per game, and swept MVP honors. While the young core, Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren, and others delivered both high-octane offense and a top-rated defense. In the offseason, the Thunder did almost nothing but re-sign key pieces. NBA inked a reported 4-year, $285 million extension. SGA inked a reported 4-year, $285 million extension, locking him up, Chet, and J-Dub long-term. Virtually every rotation player returns, making OKC arguably the best team in the world on paper. As we all know, everything on paper doesn't always translate. The big narrative, will this title-winning squad avoid a championship hangover? As ESPN notes, there's no obvious weakness in the roster, just psychological tests of defending the ground, which we haven't seen them do ever. The expectation is sky high. With virtually all starters in their mid-20s, the Thunder should be contenders again, aiming not just to repeat, but to cement a new dynasty while others chase their own crown. Phenomenal season by the OKC Thunder last season. And that was my team to win last season. And man, they did not disappoint. They came out busting and beat down the Denver Nuggets, man, 7 games. Whew, that was something else. Then beating in the Western Conference Finals, the Minnesota Timberwolves, that was just phenomenal. And then in the finals, absolutely deserve it. That's the crazy thing about the Thunder is marketing's team. They utilize a good chunk of their roster, and the roster top to bottom is just solid. That's why they didn't really do anything. Locking up a big three is very expensive, and all the implications with how the league is situated in that. It's really interesting to see how other teams are going to do it in other parts of the country. You know, we haven't seen a team repeat ever since the Golden State Warriors in 2017 and 2018. And you know what? When I saw the winners of the last couple years, that is the team that I could say for sure, OKC Thunder, I could see them defending their crown 1000%. So I feel very confident in the Thunder repeating this season. All right, let's move on. From a young squad looking to repeat, let's swing over to a rookie looking to make his mark, and that's none other than Philly's VJ Edgecombe. Man, I like this kid. So let's put the spotlight on him a little bit. The Baylor guard, explosive new wing with the 76ers, who used their third pick on 19-year-old VJ, a consensus 5-star freshman at Baylor. He averaged 15 points per game. He won Big 12 Freshman of the Year award and was also a finalist for the Jerry West Award, showing well-rounded play, 5.6 boards, 3.2 assists, and a little bit over 2 steals per game. VJ shined internationally with the Bahamas national team, dropping 20 points in an Olympic qualifier and earning praise from veteran Buddy Hield, who said he is showing serious flashes of star potential. In this summer league, he announced himself further, scoring 28 points with 10 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 blocks in his debut, signaling he can contribute on both sides of the ball. Coaches and pundits describe him as an explosive athletic guard who can complement Tyrese Maxey. Philly returns star Jojo Maxey, but lacks a true slasher slash wing. VJ's youth and shooting at 34% from three in college gives the Sixers a new dimension. With the offseason buzz that Philly views him as a future all-star alongside Tyrese Maxey, preseason expectations are extremely high. If his three-point shot develops, he showed flashes of that at Baylor. VJ can really push the Sixers offense to new levels. Let's go ahead and break that down. VJ, man. Honestly, I didn't watch him too much during college. I saw his highlights before the draft, and this kid is something special, guys. I'm telling you. He gives me the Kobe vibes. He goes to a team that Kobe Bean Bryant's dad is from, and that's where he grew up, partially as well. Obviously, he went overseas to Italy as his dad played overseas there, but still pretty cool correlation there. So I think with Jared McCain being out for a little while, this falls in VJ's favor because last year, that's Philly's high pick that they had. And with him being sidelined, I think VJ can pick up some more minutes here. He stands 6'5", 180 pounds. Obviously, there's room for growth and adding some weight, giving you a little bit more of an edge at that size. And what he did over the summer, I really liked it, man. I watched a little bit of the summer league. I'm not going to sit here and say I watched every single game, but I kept tabs on him. I saw him play during the summer league, and I was very impressed. Those guys, I believe, went to the finals and ended up losing. This kid, man, is something special, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does this season. He's got some vets around him. He's got Kyle Lowry, 20 years in, Eric Gordon, 18 years in. Learn from the people that have been in the league for quite a while. All right, let's move on now. Speaking of youth and change, Sacramento's season last year was one of the wildest up and down roller coaster for the team here in Sacramento. And I was in the building for that playing game against the Dallas Mavericks. Oh boy. Kings roster reset after locker room chaos. 2024-2025 campaign was defined by turmoil. Players openly called it a roller coaster and a whirlwind as the Kings went 40-42, ninth in the West, and bowed out in the play-in against the Dallas Mavericks. As we all know at this time, Coach Mike Brown got fired in December, and Darren Fox was always even saying something like he could leave if they let go of Coach Brown, and that's exactly what happened last year. It was just some of out of a book, I guess. The Kings went 5-13 doing that skid, and it created a lot of locker room rifts. I think it's probably maybe some of the reason of why Foxy and Domas maybe don't get along now, or basically just saying from Domas that they're just teammates, but nothing else. I think Domas didn't really like how Fox maybe handled the situation is just my only guess in what happened, but totally crazy year last year. Fox did indeed depart at the deadline, ending his 8-year tenure with the Kings. One insider ended up saying, quote, never asked for a trade, but refused to play for another coach. All told, Sacramento experienced a league-high coaching turnover and even saw GM Monte McNair exit minutes after the season. I remember when it happened pretty damn quick. I swear, right after the game, they announced it, and I was actually walking to my car right after that game. Of course, people started leaving before the game even ended. Absolute shit show. And shortly after, I think Monte probably knew he was out of here at that time. So in the offseason, the Kings went through a reset. They ended up getting Zach LaVine, who is known for his shooting, especially at the three ball. It's his first season actually being acclimated and doing a training camp here in Sacramento. So good for him. They also ended up signing Dennis Schroeder here. I love Dennis, man. He just won the Eurobasket out there in Europe, and he's a player that I see is a good fit for the Kings and what they're trying to do. They signed the big man, Drew Eubanks, started out with the LA Lakers. So I am familiar with those two players as I watch a lot of Lakers ball. They also added Daria Saric, which, funny story, totally unrelated, but I have a sibling who works for Kaiser, and she ended up telling me that when she went in, the people there were saying there was this real tall guy from the Kings that ended up having a baby most recently. A shout out to Dario Saric, who recently had a baby this offseason. One time for you, man. Then we saw JV in Jonas Valanciunas get traded to Denver. Got two big men there in Denver, very similar to how it all started with Nurkic as well. And then we did see Jake LaRavia, who I was hoping that they'll keep. He ended up going to the Lakers down south. Sacramento also drafted shooters Nick Clifford from Colorado and Maxime Renaud to inject bench talent. The end result is a very different roster from what it was last year. You got Sabonis, you got Rosen, you got Veen, and then you got Dennis running the point, and he's going to push the ball, and these guys are looking to play very fast, very similar to how they did still with Mike Brown. And I think there's a lot of things that Doug was to probably keep in trying to keep a high octane offense. Doug having the full off season and he's got his staff ready to go, and Bobby Jackson notably as one of them. So those were some of the other also changes that happened during the offseason. We saw a couple assistant coaches being let go and Doug choosing some of the guys that he wants to work with here in Sacramento. Shout out to also Mike Beebe for the Sacramento State Hornets. Excited to watch some games over there. The big questions out of Sacramento is, can Zach still mesh up very nicely with Sabonis and DeRozan in new lineups with all these other guys? You also got Devin Carter as well. So you're looking forward to seeing him take a leap. Will chemistry overcome last season's discord? Local media warned this talent-stacked roster could still resemble a fantasy team on paper. Sacramento's narrative will be about molding this collection into a winning unit despite the previous drama. I think the Kings can do really great things. I know there's a lot of Kings fans here in town that are hoping for bigger things than what happened last year, obviously being in the playoffs and maybe at least play a couple rounds. Not that their goal is always to win a championship. I think there's just some Sacramento Kings fans that are really just fed up with the Kings, and there's other shit that has happened here in Sacramento. I won't really talk about it at this time, but for some of you, you can just kind of do your research about what happened in the G League for the Stockton Kings. It was a young woman that was murdered, man. That story is just fucked up. So I just kind of keep it very brief. Feel free to do your research. Now, while the Kings are trying to steady their ship, there's a storm brewing at the top of the East. Bucks and Cavs might just be the rivalry of the season. All right, let's talk about the East real quick. I'll kind of just free ball this one, as we like to say it in rap, freestyling. These are just my thoughts off the top of the dome for this one. A couple of teams that I think could be at the top of the East next season: the Cavs, Knicks, Bucks, Pistons, Magic, Hawks, Heat, Sixers. You got a lot of injuries there in the East. We saw Damian Lillard get hurt, and now he's back in Portland, back home with his kids. Shout out to Dame. And you saw Tyrese Halliburton get hurt, and you saw JT out in Boston get hurt against the Knicks. I was hoping the Knicks would win, but not in that fashion. I hate to see the other team's best player go down as JT went down, man. Absolutely sucks. But you know what? From what I've been seeing is he's actually recovering a little bit faster than maybe what he should have at this time. So that all just tells me he's putting the work in. As somebody who's done PT before, it sucks. The process sucks, but you got to do it, especially if you want to get back onto the hardwood. Shout out to JT. The Pacers got rid of Miles Turner. He is now with the Bucks, who also is a team that is going to be contending this season. And a lot of things that we just talked about earlier with Giannis and the uncertainty. I think if the Bucks don't really get far in the playoffs next season, Giannis is out of there. A lot of teams clearing their books for a player, especially come 2027. That's the year I think a lot of teams are opening their books. As far as like the Lakers go, I mean, you got a couple of players, 2, 3 that are on the books moving forward. A lot of those other guys are on like 1 or 2 year deals at the very most. Another team that I think has high expectations more so than last year is the Hawks. Trey didn't get any love during the All-Star votes, but he finally gets in last season, which I think he deserves. And when I did my predictions, he should have been in there. It's happy for him. Another team, the Toronto Raptors, Brandon Ingram. Look forward to seeing that team kind of elevate. Last year, obviously not very good. Didn't make the playoffs, 11th spot. The one team that I think should do a lot better than they did last year, and you better come with the heat. We were just talking about them earlier. That's the 76ers. You got to do big things this year. PG and Beeb not really playing for them much of last season, and they still try to do what they could, but not enough at the end of the day. A lot of things that's kind of shaped the East as the way it is, but I just think that there's more opportunity now. The Cavs blew a lot of teams out of the East, out of the water. Best record in the East 64-18. Of course, the Thunder having the best overall record in the NBA, only losing 14 games. But the way the Cavs went out, I think a lot of teams were not fearful of them. And that's how it goes sometimes is you're a really good regular season team. And sometimes in the playoffs, you start getting injuries or you just start fucking up. And I don't know, maybe it could be nerves from others, whatever it is. A lot of people expect a lot more out of the Cavs than did last season. But I think I can speak for most of you. All right. So now let's go ahead and move on. Speaking of must watch, there's no bigger leap coming than Victor Wembanyama, the big man. Let's talk about him real quick. Can Victor Wembanyama take off? San Antonio's future rides on its 7'3" phenom. And Victor Wembanyama, we saw him go overseas and cut off his hair and do some teachings with the monks. Pretty cool things to see there. He averaged 24 and 11 and 3 blocks per game over 46 contests last season. He showed he's a generational two-way force, 58% shooter inside the arc and even hitting 35% of his threes while swatting a league-high 3.8 shots per game. As the NBA gushes the Rookie of the Year's impact is very tremendous. Quote, Victor's lone bleep was a mid-February health scare. We all remember that, a deep vein thrombosis that sidelined him. Hopefully I said that right. But otherwise, his trajectory is only up. The Spurs have built a lot around him, acquiring D Fox during the regular season. We just talked about that in the Sacramento Kings in that blockbuster trade. The Spurs is a team that a lot of people should keep their eyes on because they still have some wiggle room to potentially add another star down the line as well. So De'Aaron Fox is going to start missing the beginning of the season. He had an injury over the offseason. He didn't do his tour with Team Under Armour. I think it was supposed to be unveiling his new shoe and, do what the superstars do in the league and being out there overseas. From what I can remember is he sustained that hand injury or finger injury against the Golden State Warriors, and it was still lingering. It seems like it was still bothersome. I just hope he's 100% because Foxy's, man, he's one of the funnest players to watch in the league so fast. So much potential. Still has room to grow as a basketball player, but as far as the Spurs team that you guys should definitely keep eyes out for, I really like their forward Carter Bryant, the rookie. I saw him in San Francisco. That's another thing I was going to mention is I went to the Summer League California Classic out here in the Bay Area. That was pretty cool to see some of these players in Khalil Ware. I saw the Miami Heat take on these guys in the San Antonio Spurs. And then I was really impressed with David Jones Garcia, man, the 6'6", 219 fella from the Dominican Republic. I really like him. This team, they can do some really good things. Mitch Johnson coming back as their coach and their young coach. Greg Popovich still there. I mean, you still have a lot of these people that have had an influence with the Spurs still there. Emmanuel Ginobili, Timmy Duncan, he's part of the staff. So this is definitely a great environment. And this is definitely a team that you should keep your eyes out for as some of these stars are looking for a new landing spot. This is going to be a team that these guys can definitely go to. They got a lot of young players. Dylan Harper is also another player that you guys should definitely be watching this year, especially he'll be getting some minutes with Foxy being out to start the year off. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do during this NBA season. He's going to be a rookie, got a lot to learn, young fella. But yeah, man, he's a smooth player and I really like his game. So best of luck to the Spurs moving forward. All right, guys, that's going to be a wrap on episode 1 of Season 3 of Shot Clock Scribbles. I appreciate you guys listening to the very end of this podcast, first of many. And we've got so many storylines brewing. And this year, I want to take you along the journey with me as the season unfolds. Like I said, I got some things that I'm working on this year that I want to bring to you guys live and direct. And I hope you guys like it. Feel free to give me any feedback. Hey, I want you to do this more, or maybe cut down on this a little bit more. I'm always willing to learn. I'm a student of the game. So please get at me. I am on Instagram, Clock Scribbles, on all audio platforms. You can find me at Shot Clock Scribbles Podcast. I'm also on TikTok, Shot Clock Scribbles. Make sure you guys hit the follow and the subscribe button on YouTube. I'm at Tendai 530. That's TENDAI 530. Next episode, I got a guest joining me in episode number 2, so you don't want to miss that. Make sure you guys share, tap in, subscribe. I got a vision for this season, like I said. So I want to just keep building with you guys until next time. Thanks for rocking with me out here in Sacramento, California. And let's get ready for tip off and happy first of the month. Let's go.